Is the perfect storm killing the green transition? That is the question I'll be reflecting on in this video. My name is Jasper Steinhausen, and this is Outside Perspective, where I, as usual, give you perspectives on issues in the intersection between business and sustainability. If we look at the energy side of the green transition, here in Europe especially, but generally many places in the world, but especially here in Europe, we have what we could call a perfect storm for the green tech companies. So we see stocks are going down massively for some. We see companies in trouble. We see projects being postponed or dropped completely. And in many ways, actually, it's really an uphill battle right now. So what's going on? Well, I see that there are three things that we really need to look into to understand this picture before we're able to answer the question if it's coming to a stop or not, like some of the critics have been saying. So the first issue is inflated stock prices. So in 2021 and 2022, cash flew to this industry like hardly we've seen before in this sector, at least. So companies here could basically walk on water, and projects got funding pretty easy, and the stock prices were inflated. And what we're seeing here for the last year or so has been a correction of that, so that we see that the stock prices are nearing, or at least being more aligned with the actual value that the company can produce. But that is a huge issue for companies, because this is an industry where it's so important to be able to invest. So these massive cuts in their value hits them really hard. Number two thing is that we have short-term cost rises in cost in a long-term market. When you are investing and building energy infrastructure, it really is a long-term game. Often there will be years from when you submit a bid for something until the actual windmill or whatever it is operational. So right now what we are seeing with this massive increase due to inflation and rising interest rates is that many projects are submitted at a way lower price point than what they are capable of being delivered at today. This is due to an increase in material cost, its labor cost, and its access to capital. So the picture is completely different compared to what most of these bids are were given on, and that's obviously a massive issue. And this goes back and has an influence on the first point I made, the cost correction, the price correction on stocks, because obviously many of these do not deliver anywhere near what people had expected. So that's the second one, and it's so important to understand and to change the conditions that any sort of energy infrastructure and projects going forward, the conditions that they have for the bid. So the third one is that there is a stall in demand. So what we are seeing right now is that many places governments are sending mixed signals to the speed of the transition. So how fast will we see an implementation and a transition of industries, of transportation, of buildings? So it's all about the electrification and the speed of it. And there are many reasons why we're seeing these mixed signals, and it makes sense from a political point of view that many governments are shaking their hands a bit these days. But since energy is such a sector that is highly influenced by governments, and in some areas, and for good reasons actually, controlled entirely by governments, it means a lot what the politicians are saying and what they are doing. So it's the postponing or dropping completely of power to X projects, it's infrastructure, energy infrastructure projects, expansion that is being on hold, or just anyway sort of signaling to regulation that it's unclear when this is going to happen. It's not a matter of if it's going to happen, it's more a matter of how fast. But this means again that for the sector here, for the industry, that there is an increased risk that they will end up having an issue around not having enough demand, and thereby they are also holding back. So these three things all together make this perfect storm. That is the reason why we are seeing this stagnation of progress and momentum. So what will happen from here, and will it mean that it comes to a stop? I think not. And the main reason is that renewable energy still by far is the cheapest way to create energy today. So it will survive, there's no doubt about that. But what we need to see, and what I expect to see, is that we will have the momentum picking up again within 1 to 2 years, and thereby being back on track, so to speak. And the reason for that is that it's clear to see that many governments and in the European Union, they're starting to realize this new reality. So that's my take on it. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree, and I'll see you in another video.